Hello and welcome to coverage of the 2017 Audi R8 LMS Cup. We are here in Suzuka, Japan for the first time. Sean Henshelwood, what a great place to be.
Such an iconic circuit with such a storied history, especially in Formula One, some great rivalries, and it really is a circuit that all the drivers have picked out this year as one they really were looking forward to coming to.
Well, we're happy to have Alessio Picariello, the points leader, with us here. Alessio, let's take a look back at the first two races of the season in Malaysia and get some of your perspective on that.
Fantastic start. You had to protect into turn one, and you managed to do that and hold the field at bay, and that was the big goal first up, wasn't it?
Yeah, the start is always the key point. As we see, everybody was using push to pass, so it was important to use it really well. And then, yeah, I could pull away from the pack, build like a 5 seconds gap. But then this crash happened and the safety car came out, so obviously it was a bit painful, but I was quite confident with the car and I knew I could pull away again, and I still had a lot of push to pass left, so it was all about keeping the lead again at the restart.
Then there was this big incident, you probably didn't see it because you were at the front, but Sean was pressuring Alex Young here and completely loses it and skids right out.
Yeah, we saw I was watching the race at home, and we saw Alex was really confident with his car. He was doing a few mistakes, and then under pressure he went off. I didn't see it in my car. I had just a perfect race.
And of course, had to do it again, but 50 kilos this time too, so it made it a little bit more challenging the second race.
Yeah, I knew I would be struggling the standing start, and yeah, that was the case. I lost the lead there. But then obviously I had a really good pace. I set the fastest lap time in the race, even with 50 kilos, but it was not enough to get past Alex, so I had to be happy with the position too.
It was a nice rivalry. Of course, he came back with victory in that second race, and the 1-2 from 2016 are carrying the fight through again into 2017. So that makes things very interesting. But there you are, Alessio Picariello leading the championship points, 45 points to your 2016 rival Alex Young, reigning champion, 31 points. So that was a great start to the season.
So here we are in Suzuka, qualified first and third. Let's just look ahead. What are your goals for this weekend?
Yeah, definitely to win race 1. I have 35 kilos, but I think I can do it. And race 2, I think my qualifying was even better, but I did a little mistake. So I'm really optimistic and I will push hard.
Thanks very much, Alessio. Best of luck. Now let's take a quick look back at the history of this iconic Suzuka circuit.
It was kind of a dream for me to drive in Suzuka, really legendary track. And yeah, I'm really happy that because of the Audi R8 LMS Cup this year, I have the opportunity to do it.
It's truly an iconic circuit. You know, you say that about a lot of circuits, but Suzuka really is. It's a sort of circuit that takes a while to understand. It's so fast and flowing, and there's so little runoff. You really have to build up to it. So track knowledge is very important here.
Before to come here, I looked some F1 onboards, and when we look the one from Sebastian Vettel back in his Red Bull years is really impressive. Definitely a track that drivers want to be in front, and I hope I can do that this weekend.
It is definitely a driver's circuit. It's just like Nürburgring, really. It's the sort of thing where you just have to build up to it, because if you try and grab it by the scruff of the neck, you're going to be in the barrier. A lot of tracks, you can make a mistake and still recover. You can't do that at Suzuka. You can't do it at these old school tracks like Nürburgring. So that's what makes it really special. In my opinion, on the Formula One calendar, this is the best track.
I'm expecting Alex to be fast here as he has some experience, as he did F1 here. Difficult to overtake. This is a kind of track that brings a lot of fights.
I think it's pretty much virtually impossible to overtake here without a bit of contact.
The runoffs are grass or gravels, and they are really short and the walls are close. So everything makes it interesting, and yeah, it's just really, it's definitely the most challenging track we have on the calendar this year.
I've had good times and bad times here. You know, my time in Formula One, the last time I raced in Formula One here was fantastic. But I've had bad moments as well. You know, I've crashed twice at 130R and ridden the cars off. You know, so it can bite you. But that's what the great circuits do.
Hopefully it doesn't end up like it did with Senna and Prost between Alex and I, but maybe we can have some good fights.
This is a track which, it does reward the brave, but it's a fine line between brave and crashed in the barrier.
Welcome to Suzuka International Circuit in Japan. The very first time the Audi R8 LMS Cup has come to the iconic Japanese Formula One venue. We are getting ready for the third round of the championship. Here is the Suzuka Circuit layout. 5.8 kilometres, 19 turns, very demanding, old school Formula One style circuit. A crossover figure 8 layout, very rare in the world of motorsport. Long back straight through turn 15, 16, the chicane, made very famous by Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost many years ago. Championship points leader Alessio Picciarello takes the very first pole here at Suzuka. Alongside him, Mitch Gilbert for OD Racing. Stefan Riquelme back for the Castrol Racing Team, position 3, alongside reigning champion Alex Young. Sean Dong, Frankie Cheng on row 3, and then David Chen on debut for the Tianxia Racing Team alongside Marchi Lee. And it's Martin Rump alongside Anthony Liu making a return to the Cup. KOU position 11 alongside Kane Zhang on debut. Rick Yoon alongside Birat Birambakti, then Jeffrey Lee and Sun Jingzhou round out the field. Limited overtaking opportunities here, so it's vital to get this started. Alessio Picciarello on the left of screen needs to take that lead into turn 1. There's Mitch Gilbert alongside, and Alex Young trying to make it 3 wide, and that won't work. Stefan Riquelme up the inside of the reigning champion, takes away position 3, forces the Malaysian wide, and that allows an opportunity for Sean Thong to take a look up the inside, but he's not going to do it as they get into this testing S's complex. Here we are on board with Marchi Lee. You can see what he's doing all over the rear of Frankie Cheng there, a couple of wheels onto the grass. That's not ideal, Frankie. He doesn't want to be doing too much of that on this tight testing Suzuka layout. Down to the chicane, made famous by Senna and Prost all those years ago. Oh, we got a bit of a drama there for Rick Yoon. He's got his own problems. Off through the gravel, he's managed to avoid contact with any walls, and hopefully he can carry on. This is Martin Rump. He's had a tough run, car damaged, and almost had to be completely rebuilt before this weekend. Put them a little bit behind the 8 ball, so forcing him to come through the field. KOU trying to come up the inside. Oh, he's KO'd Martin Rump. Pushed the Estonian across the circuit there, and that may see the South Korean driver visiting the stewards after the race. But the bigger issue now is the smoke coming from those 2 cars. There's guards rubbing on the tyres. They're going to be very careful to make sure that doesn't create a bigger problem. There's now Anthony Liu on left of screen in the silver and red car. Tries to take position away from KOU down to turn 1. David Chen in the Tianxia Racing car doing a great job to lock in on the tail of this group and be involved in a run inside the top 10. And KOU now just dropped back a number of positions. That's really backfired for the South Korean driver. Further towards the front of the field, Mitch Gilbert still hangs on to position 2 from Stefan Riquelme, but there's no denying who's at the front of this field. Great move too there, using push to pass feverishly. Sean Dong has taken a position away from the reigning champion and moved further up this field. Alex Young not quite enjoying the run he was hoping to have here. Probably the most experienced Cup driver in this field. On board the rear of Alex Young's number 1 Audi R8 LMS Cup car, and you could see that move by Sean Thong to take the position away on the run down to turn 1. Alessio Picciarello has been brilliant so far in season 2017. This could well be the second win for 3 races so far this year, as now Marchi Lee is all over the rear of his Phoenix Racing Asia teammate, looking to make a position change and move through on the 3-time champion. We expected probably a little more from the former Malaysian F1 driver. Of course, 2 starts with the Minardi team here in the early 2000s and a number of starts with Formula Nippon. Very well experienced, but just hasn't quite come to grips with the new tyres. And there he is, he's lost traction. 130R, round once, around twice, 720 spin. He's managed to gather it all up again and carry on. But this isn't the start that Alex Young wanted. Let's go on board for Marchie Lee. Oh, you just see on the exit of the corner, broken traction with the rear of the car, very unusual. Hopefully there's nothing broken in the car now. We're on board with Alex Young. Listen to it, round once, round twice, gathers it up and continues on, but a number of position changes there as a result of that spin for the driver of the number 1 car. Stefan Riquelme doing a great job on his return to the Cup. Under the rear wing there of the Audi racing car of Mitch Gilbert. Can't do anything about it. Very limited overtaking opportunities here without the kind of contact we saw with KOU. At the front of the field though, Alessio Piccarello takes win number 2. Mitch Gilbert second. Stefan Riquelme takes third, and then it's the Phoenix Racing Asia teammate Sean Thong, Marchie Lee, and then a good result too there for Frankie Cheng crossing the line in 6th place. But he's done it again. The Belgian driver, that's 2 wins from 3 starts, extends his championship points lead, celebrates with Ingo Mader from Absolute Racing. Well-deserved result for Alessio Piccarello. Mitch Gilbert second, Stefan Riquelme is third for the Castrol Racing team. Sean Thong takes 4th for the Audi Tita Racing team. Then it's Marchie Lee, Frankie Cheng, Alex Young recovers for 7th position, and a good result too for Anthony Liu, the Chinese driver driving for Absolute Racing. Martin Rump recovers for position 9 after that contact with KOU. Good result for David Chen. Jeffrey Lee, Birat Birambakti, KOU, Kane Zhang and Sun Jingzhu round out the field.
I can say I'm winner of Suzuka race, so that sounds really good for the CV, you know. I'm really proud of it, but no, it was a really good race. I mean, I was really confident with the car, but I can tell you it wasn't easy to stay on track. You need to be focused all the time. Every corner is really on the edge.
Mitch Gilbert, 2nd place. What was the highlight of the race for you today?
The finish, to be honest, I was quite happy to be over, like for the race to be over with. I didn't have any pace really at all. Obviously, I'm happy to finish second. You don't really want to be dominated by your teammate, you know. That's never fun.
It's good to be on the podium. That's the first thing. The team did a good job since Sepang. For sure, when you arrive in a new championship, you don't expect to be in the front, but podium is really good, and we keep pushing and we see for the rest.
Well, joining us now is reigning and 3-time champion Alex Young, 7th in that last race, largely because of the skid. Just talk us through that from your point of view.
That was very interesting. Had a spin at 130R. I could feel the back move just as I went through the apex, and I knew I had to keep it out of the barrier, so I put my throttle in full throttle. Had too much momentum, and I could feel it going around for a second spin, so I got the throttle again to spin it around, and then jumped on the brake to just bring the front round. So managed to get away with the 720, but yeah, a little bit disappointing.
Pretty tough start to the season. 2 not so great results mixed in with a win. Can you put that behind you and come back? What do you need to do to get this championship back on track?
We haven't made any progress. You know, Alessio was still so much quicker than everyone, and so that's our benchmark, that's our bar, that's what we need to sort out. Some homework still needs to be done.
And just a quick word on some of the other things you've been up to. You've revisited Nürburgring, much better situation this year than last year. Audi won, of course, overall. How was it from your point of view?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, you know, the Audi won, and overall the GT3 cars worked beautifully. From our perspective, the GT4 car was a brand new car, so it was great to get it to the end. We lost some time through some accident damage, but the car ran brilliantly, really, and so to get to the finish was great. This
is the next big thing for Audi, isn't it? The GT4 with the emergence of that class.
Yeah, I mean, GT4 seems to be getting a lot bigger, a lot of manufacturers involved, but we still need to do a lot more work on it. You know, a lot of electronics with the ABS, the traction control, stability control. They actually are incorporating the stability control into the GT4 car, which none of the other GT4 cars has. So there's a little bit of time before it's all perfect.
Good stuff. Thanks, Alex.
That's a Proton Saga.
My first car, it's a Seat Leon.
My first road car was a Volkswagen GTI Mach 5.
2002 Ford Fiesta with 1.2 engine, had 60 horsepower.
Oh, my first road car, I think it was a Ford Fiesta in UK, yes.
A Nissan Skyline R32.
My first road car is a BMW, I think.
I never had my own road car, so I cannot answer that question.
Getting ready for a start for round 4 of the 2017 Audi R8 LMS Cup. Great to see a big crowd on the grid and the passion of the Japanese fans prior to this historic first race at Suzuka. Frankie Cheng claims pole position just ahead of Mitch Gilbert. Only 0.02 of a second in it for round 4. Alessio Picciarello and Martin Rump on the second row. Then Alex Jung and Anthony Liu doing a fantastic job. Stefan Riquelme and Sean Thong make up row number 4. Marchi Lee, position number 9, further back than the Phoenix Racing Asia team boss would have liked. David Chen alongside, then it's KOU, Rick Yoon, Kane Zhang and Jeffrey Lee. Standing start for the second race of the weekend. Frankie Cheng off pole position, needs to get across in front of Mitch Gilbert, and also watch out for points leader Alessio Picciarello behind. He's completed the first charge. He has to stay in front of them into turn 1, then it makes it very difficult for them to get past him. Let's go on board with Sean Thong a little bit further back in the field. Just watch how the field spreads out and makes up position. It's vital to get as far forward as he can off the start of this race before the field starts to stretch out. Straight through into the S's, turns 3. Right into, and almost contact into the back of Riquelme. A drama on right of screen. That looks like Anthony Liu ahead with smoke coming from the left rear of his car. What's happened? We look at the replay as they head into the S's, and Alex Jung has gone to the immediate right of the circuit. Now let's go on board with the reigning champion, see if we can see what happens. That's Anthony Liu on left of screen, just disappearing down on the inside into turn 1. They come to the braking point and tip in to the right-hander. Oh, big contact there with the 37 car. That hasn't helped. That is Martin Rump immediately behind too. They're trying to go 3 wide into turn 1, and that doesn't work here at Suzuka International Circuit. And a drama by the sound of things too for the reigning champion, and that's put him off the circuit, and that's created a bottleneck as the teams have tried to negotiate around and into turn 4. On board, there is Anthony Liu, and this is Sean Thong trying to make a passing move on Stefan Riquelme, who has his own problems. You can see smoke coming from the right front of the Castrol Racing Team entry. No dramas though for Frankie Cheng. He's ticked that box. He's got away from the start, led into turn 1. Now he needs to keep his teammate from Absolute Racing, and points leader Alessio Picciarello immediately behind. On board again with Sean Thong, trying to get around Riquelme. Riquelme seems to have gone a little bit wide, and that's forced the Audi Tier Racing Team driver to go wide. He's lost wholesale positions, dropped from a battle for 5th, and he's back to 9th position. He's got it all ahead of him on a circuit that's traditionally very difficult to overtake. And there's a very sad sight of the reigning champion limping the number 1 Audi R8 LMS Cup car back into pit lane with that damaged right rear wheel. Now here's a good battle. Rick Yoon has recovered after the dramas of race 1 to be doing very well in the AM classification. But that is Jeffrey Lee, the reigning AM Cup champion, taking him for position, and so too Kane Zhang on debut here for the KCMG team. Oh, here's a move, here's a move. Nice to see Marchi Lee down the inside. Very difficult to do it without contact. Riquelme across the grass. David Chen takes position. Sean Thong recovering, moving forward, takes another position away from Riquelme, who seems to have his own problems now. David Chen doing a brilliant job on debut for Tianxia Racing Team. Now has his own problems too. He's got his hands full of the Audi Tier Racing entry of Sean Thong, who takes a position away and moves up to position 6. That's a great recovery from that off trying to avoid Riquelme a little bit earlier in the race. On board now with Sean Thong, heading down to that iconic Suzuka chicane. There he is, taking the position away from Riquelme, who was forced across the grass by Marchi Lee. Now the slipstream right under the rear wing of the Tianxia Racing car for Sean Thong. He pulls out of the slipstream, goes around the outside. He's on the push to pass. Game over for Stefan Riquelme, disappointing after a podium finish in race 1, whilst this battle between Jeffrey Lee and Kane Zhang goes on. Great drive, great qualifying effort, and fantastic debut for David Chen and Tianxia Racing here in their first event with the Audi R8 LMS Cup. Great drive too for Mitch Gilbert, hanging on to position 3, under fire from Martin Rump, applying maximum pressure. Fastest car on the circuit at the moment is Marchi Lee, as he tries to breach that gap to the top 4 further in front of him. The Absolute Racing Team watching on as their man, Frankie Cheng, at the front of this field in the FAW VW Audi Racing Team entry, continues to hold point ahead of championship points leader Alessio Picciarello. Picciarello's got nothing he can do about with that extra 50 kilos of success ballast from winning race 1 yesterday, and he is just holding position, but he'll have to take second position. 2 wins, 2 seconds for Alessio Picciarello, but a return to the top step of the podium for the Chinese motorsport pioneer Frankie Cheng. 3rd for Mitch Gilbert, and 4th across the line for Martin Rump. Very happy team Erin Chen and Ingo Mater of Absolute Racing. Lots of celebrations. This is a popular victory for the Chinese veteran, and he will be very pleased to be at the top step of the podium once more. Celebrating with Alessio Picariello and Mitch Gilbert. They share the podium. Martin Rump, good drive for 4th. Marchie Lee, 5th. Sean Thong, fastest race lap here, and it goes into the record books for the Audi Cup for him. David Chen, position 7, great drive, and KOU recovers after that drama yesterday to finish in position 8. Jeffrey Lee, Kane Jung, Burke Biram Bakhti takes the win for the AM division ahead of Rick Yoon. Then Sun Jingzhu and Alex Jung returned to the field, but that has dropped him well down the championship points. Alessio Picariello leads 89 points. Frankie Cheng moves into second ahead of Mitch Gilbert, Martin Rump, Sean Thong and Marchie Lee. And in the AM Plus classification, Jeffrey Lee, after his victory at Sepang, continues to lead from David Chen and Kane Jung. In the AM classification, it's Burke Biram Bakhti on top from Rick Yoon and Sun Jingzhu.
What I think is very critical for me to win this race is a self-belief. And I was kind of a bit lost last year. Sitting in the car before the red light goes off, I was long time that I see no cars in front of me, and which was a really nice feeling.
Definitely my goal was to win. Still early in the championship, so if I can win, I will go for it. I tried to put pressure on him, but I knew it would be hard to pass, so my only chance was to put him under pressure. He didn't make any big mistakes, so that's how it was.
I was definitely stronger than I was yesterday. I kind of managed to keep with them for a bit longer, but I can't seem to hang on in the race that well.
Well, a great debut weekend here at Suzuka, Sean, and fantastic to see Frankie Chung back on top of the podium. It's been a while, but he's second now in the standings, although he is 31 points behind championship leader Alessio Picariello.
Picariello's done a great job. 2 wins from 4 races so far, 2 second places, pole positions, everything. But for Alex Jung, unfortunately, the reigning champion, he said to me after race 2 that for him, season 2017, it's all over.
Well, next up, we're all going to Korea in July. But in the meantime, our social media team will be hard at work bringing you all the latest news.